Hello friend, I'm Dr. Kamal and I'm from physports clinic. Today we are going to discuss about cycling biomechanics and about what should be the position of the athlete and all those things. So before we start this thing, I need to discuss a few points like what is the relation between the muscles and the bone, how you get connected to the bike, what is your relation to with the bike. So I'll just briefly discuss a few points. Like, take this example, like every bones of a body, they are connected to the muscles, and there is an outer layer around our body, that is fascia. So a movement at one joint, say above the head, could stretch the fascia down from the ankle also. So it's all interconnected. So any movement, if I do like this, I'm just lifting my leg like this. So basically I'm stretching this fascia also. So it's not an isolated movement when we are talking about. Another thing is, our body is something like, with age, it is bound to get stiff. So the stiffness will be present in our body. Another important aspect is the range of motion. The range of motion will be like how much our joints are able to move through a proper range. We'll take just an example of this elbow. This is the entire range of elbow. It can come to this point. In doing so, these muscles have to contract and these have to relax. Now, for example, suppose this got stiff, so our range will be restricted, and when the range is restricted at one joint, it will eventually lead to pressure, giving pressure on the other joints also. So what we are going to discuss here is how we are connected to the bike and what should be the evaluation process to ride a bike. Like, we have got a pre-configured bike. I'll tell you that with the standards of the femur, your height and your length of the muscle, your bones and all, we have a pre-decided settings for that. So there are two types of evaluation. One is the on-bike evaluation, the other is the off-bike evaluation. So I'll just tell you, suppose this is the bike. So I'll just call Zipa, come this side. See, if we want to evaluate a bike on the person, sit on that. Like when she is sitting, what we are seeing is, we take this length, the length of the femur, the saddle height, the cleats, the handlebar, all these things are taken into account of like how we gonna evaluate. There is a pre-setting for those things. Before discussing the injuries about here, we'll first discuss, one is the on-bike evaluation, which you all get down. Like when you purchase a bike, you go for the fitting of those bikes. You go on for the fitting of these saddle, cleat, handlebar. Now come this side, I'll show you one more thing. Come in. See, we talked about the joints and the interconnection between the muscles. Take these as bones, and these are the supporting structures down here. So if we talk about ankle, like if we are pulling something down here, the changes will come up down here also. So if we want to ensure that we have a proper balance down here, both the segments have to be in equal lengths. If this gets shortened up, the bones will get malaligned. There will be not the proper bonding, I will say. If take for this example, if this muscles of this side, take this as a whole of your body, right side of your body, left side of your body, and this gets shortened up. So the bones will change its position. This normally happens with the pelvis. When one side of our pelvis is tight, it tends to get a little higher. That's what happens. So one thing we discussed down here was on bike evaluation. Now we have to understand off bike evaluation. How we have gonna decide this bike is fit for me or not. Shivam, lie down. The first thing which we are gonna check is flexibility of the muscles. That is how flexible these muscles are. Like your lower back, how much bending you're gonna provide on the bike. Like how much bend can you get on the bike. Now take this as a free range. We'll take this as a free range. So this is the range which is permissible at her lower back area. Now from here we are getting some pressure down here. From here, if we are going to push this up, we'll have to pull. I have to apply some pressure down here. So that means the stiffness point starts from here. To go further up, I had to push up. So taking this angle as a for hers, like if this is the free range, here it gets stopped. Now from here I have to apply pressure. So on bike, her angle should not exceed than this. It should not exceed than this, because if she is exceeding this thing, it will hurt her back. Maybe not in just 1-2 settings, but after a long time, if she is biking, she will get to understand ki how much lower back issues they can come. So what we will check is, we'll bend both the legs, just check for the barrier, where the barrier is coming. Like if the barrier is down here, so angle of the bike should not be more than this. You have to measure those things. That's the one aspect of taking that account. Come out, I'll tell you another things also. So like what we have discussed till now was like about the on bike evaluation and the off bike evaluation, where we were discussing more about the flexibility of those things. Now suppose if you are having a bike like this, in that on bike evaluation we did all this, the length of the femur, your cleats level, your saddle, your handlebar. Now if your body is not flexible, what will happen? Suppose my lower back is more rigid and I try to go a bit further down like this and I go for a biking like this. What will happen? Not now, but on a later note, it will get affected at my lower back. So when you are deciding the positions, a few things you need to remember. First is your flexibility of the muscles and how you are connected to that bar. Like I did explain you about the bones and the muscles once they are connected, and if the muscles of one side they are tight, what will happen is it will pull the bone towards one side, and there will be a shifting of the sacrum and the pelvic will get shifted. All these things I explained you. When you are sitting on a bike, what happens is you are connected to this bike. Now this bike becomes a part of your body now. So if they both are not in relation, if there is something wrong down here, it can hurt my entire body also. Now taking into account, like when you're sitting on a bike and if you are putting too much pressure like this, you are leaning too much, the areas which can be affected, like your wrist, the dorsum of the wrist, it can get affected if your wrist position is not fine. This elbow, the muscles around the elbow, they get pumped up. It could be the other reason where you can have issues with the elbow. So your elbow should be a little relaxed when you are on the bike. Your not just elbow, your entire body should be very light when you are sitting on the bike. You just have to pump up your other glutes muscles and the abdominal muscles. Your upper body needs to be very relaxed in that manner. Now if you are leaning too much, other thing which can happen is you can have injuries around shoulder, your clavicular joint, the clavicle. And if you are putting too much pressure, it may lead to stiffness of the capsule around the shoulder joint. It may eventually, on a longer run, it may lead to the frozen shoulder thing. Now if we talk about the other conditions which are associated with bikes, you must all have heard about this, the saddle soreness. If the saddle is too hard, it will give some issues at the sacrum level. You can have knee pain if your biomechanics are not right with the bike. There are further details and analysis which you can do about how your knee should be going while biking and all those things. Now other thing, it could be your heel issues, your knee, your back, your shoulder, and your forearms. All these can be a little, you can get affected if you are not. See, you have to understand this thing, the bike has to be according to you, your body, your muscles flexibility, your joint movements. You cannot have a fixed bike and then your body is not allowing that. You have a armrest down here and your muscles are stiff, but because it is down here, you have to pull this down. Now it will lead to some kind of back pain. So if it is down and your muscles are not flexible enough, raise the height of the handlebar. You should avoid the forward bending, all those things. Now another key thing which we see is, when a person bikes, you must have seen, this is the pelvis. Normally when we bike, the pelvis, it will go like this. And if what happens, your abdominal muscles are weak, the pelvis will rock like this, it will go like this. The rocking of the pelvis will be, it will go from this position to this position, it will rock like this. So we have to ensure how our core muscles should be strong when we are riding. We have to see the rocking of the pelvis that can be taken care of. There are few more detailed analysis which we can do with this. As of now, we are telling you a few pointers about what you have to look in your bike. First is the flexibility part. On 15th, we are conducting a camp at the clinic, and we hope to see you here in Gomti Nagar, Lucknow. Or if you have any other queries, you can just let us know. Thank you.